Hi everybody, it's Sandy here, and it's time for a post new moon solar eclipse rose reading. And hi Renee, this is the first opportunity that I've had to do the rose reading for this time, and just really pleased to be able to come live on camera. As many of you know, I've had a little bit of a tricky few weeks, but in particular last week. Those of you that follow me on my main page know that I've actually had some health issues that I've had to deal with, and so that's really meant that I've not been as sort of present to do these rose readings as I might be over the last a month or so. But at least we have got the rose reading to do today, and I feel it's much more of a sort of a finger on the pulse as to what we're working through at this time. You know, these eclipse points and these full and new moons are really pulse points on our journey. They're pulse points that bring us a contraction and a release that enables us to start to make shifts and changes in our lives that will take us even further on our soul's evolutionary journey. Today, as you can see, we're back into the Rosy Temple space with the fire going, and it's felt really important today that fire energy has been a sustaining factor in the journey forward. We had an amazing group here at the Rosy Temple yesterday, creating grids with roses and the Crystal Kingdom to anchor really in the light for this coming time. This eclipse was a solar eclipse, a partial solar eclipse that was conjunct the south node of the moon. And the nodes are sort of ethereal points that actually help us to see our evolutionary trajectory through life. So the south node very much connected to the energy that we've brought into this lifetime, what is known to us, the known template. And the north node, the journey that our soul wants to take us on in this journey of mastery. This particular eclipse was conjunct the south node, and it's felt very much to do with an evolutionary journey of fate. It's like a point which is pointing us on this next piece of the trajectory, and eclipses will often have an effect for us for up to about 6 months. So this portal that we've just been through, that has taken us through this new moon, has been not necessarily a comfortable place for many of us, and as you know, me included. So the health issues that I've been presenting with around my heart and my lungs have actually really forced me to take a big review about my picture of my journey, and where this is going, where I'm feeling the call to heal and transform and move in my inner landscape. I don't really want to move anymore on an outer level. I'm very happy in this Rosy Temple. Anyway, you know, this place of this window that we are now entering, which is a window between this new moon and the full moon on the 22nd, which will lead us on into the next new moon, which will be on the 4th of February. So it feels to me that there is another month here where we're really being nudged to shift our trajectory, to get really in alignment with what we're being called to work with going through into 219. I think there was a mop-up of some of the clearing work that was needed through 218 to get us ready to enter this portal of time that will take us through to the Saturn-Pluto conjunction in January of 2020. These are pivotal points in our journeys. And of course, depending on where that is in your chart, which house it is in your chart, and how that's likely to impact on your choices going into this year. So these indeed are very, very powerful times. And there is a feeling for me that as we move through into this next 2-week cycle, that there will be there will really be a sense that the changes that we make in this coming time will be really significant, and it's really very much about letting go of the past fully. You know, that actually as we move through to this next eclipse on the full moon, there is a discernment, and I think the key word at the moment is discernment as to what, who, and what part of our own journey that we really want to focus on and take forward with us. So there's a real alignment here, and the other keywords that sort of came to me as I tuned in for this reading were very much about this focus on practicality, really. You know, what works? What are we drawn to? What lights us up? What works? And what really sits as a truth for us? Because the alignment that we need to go forward is absolutely got to be crystal clear. You know, what is needed? Not necessarily what we want, but actually what do we need in order to be fulfilled and to feel in alignment with our soul's calling at this time. So, hi, I can see Nikki, I can see Sass, I can see Pam. I think Evelyn's on as well. So hi, everybody. And yeah, welcome to the reading. So yeah, this place for me, it sort of has made me really reflective. This Christmas New Year has been a very reflective place for me around my journey this far, and what that has really meant, what that's encompassed. And so many that I've spoken with have really felt this too. Hi, Dawn. You know, this is the key thing for us, this key word of discernment. What actually feels aligned now for us at a heart level, and what can be this guiding light that is going to light a path for us going forward. So what might the roses have to share with us for inspiration in this particular time? Oh, hi, Nikki. So are you drawn to Rose Card 1? Are you drawn to Rose Card 2? Or are you drawn to Rose Card 3? And, you know, as ever, all of these rose cards work, well, these rose energies, these codes of light all work together. So they actually together form a template of light that helps us to see a pattern that can emerge in this coming fortnight that takes us around to the full moon. That place of moving from the emptiness to the fullness gives us another opportunity to bring a culmination to the storyline, the narrative that we're running at this particular point. And I certainly realise that there's some deep clearing that many of us are doing at a real core level. The work feels to be fairly relentless. It's really taken us on such a deep journey, such a deep dive. And even when we were in Circle yesterday and we were working, creating these templates of roses and the crystal kingdom that wanted to weave in with the rose codes, this is bringing up really core issues for the rosy circle here of, where are we being called, and what is still being called to be released or transmuted to lighten our load. Hi, Vicky. Hello. Hi, Cecilia. Hi. So, yeah, let's see what the roses have got to show us and share with us for the wisdom for these coming times. So if you were drawn to Rose card 1, she is Rose Ma 8. And what she will be asking is there something around your creativity that is calling to be reconnected with? Or is there something new that you are being called to engage with? This creative calling is so deep within us. Our connection is with the Creator. So we are creative beings. And when we come into this right alignment within our own soul self, what is enabled through us is a clear conduit of light that enables us to manifest and create to our heart's desire, really. The other aspect that you could look at with this card is the fact that the rose is calling you to look at being very creative from a solutions-orientated perspective. That there is something that perhaps has been sticky for you, that you haven't quite resolved, that you haven't quite got the answers for. And this rose is saying to you, do you need to look outside of the box? Do you need to look at something that's not in a straight line here, something that is going to perhaps reflect back on itself? This rose, the center of her has got like big curls, big Catherine wheels of the petals. She is, she's very expressive. This rose actually is a rose that I photographed in the David Austin Rose Gardens in Albrighton near Birmingham, and she is called the Lark Ascending. She was clearly named after the piece by Ralph Vaughan Williams, but is incredibly scented and really called me when I went to visit the gardens. It was, she was sort of going, don't miss me, don't miss me. And she's just such a unique rose in her form. It's not a conventional form. So there is this sense of new creativity. There are new ideas. There are new approaches and new ways of doing things. So if you were drawn to Rose card 1 today, she's really inviting you to look at these aspects of your creativity, and what is it that is still needing to be worked through, that is still needing to be given time, that we explore these aspects. And creativity comes in all sorts of ways. It can be cooking a beautiful meal. It can be painting, it can be dancing, it can be music, but it can also be working in a way that is looking at a new solution, a new approach to something that perhaps has been sticky for you. So here she is, Rose card 1, Rose Ma 8. If you were drawn to Rose card 2, she is Rose Angel 10. And it's very interesting that both of these roses came up several times for the group yesterday. This rose is all about self-love, self-value, self-esteem. She's one of the Rose Angels. She's one of the transformers of the 5 wounds to love. So she sits in the base chakra, base second chakra. She is a transmuter of the wound of abandonment into self-love, self-value and self-esteem. So you can see it's like she's almost like an invitation. That petal is down, inviting you to engage, inviting you to enter the dance. Come into this place of really valuing yourself, really valuing what you bring, the uniqueness of what you bring. And self-love, self-value, self-esteem is at the foundation of absolutely everything. If that is not fostered in us when we are children, we spend an awful lot of time getting our needs met, or wanting that mirroring and affirmation in perhaps less than healthy ways. So this calling within to this foundation of self-appreciation is actually, it's a bit like the base of Maslow's triangle. When that is in place, we can make this evolutionary journey up through to the heart, right up through into the pineal gland, into this place of the interdimensional rose gate that brings us into the contact with the galactic aspects, the cosmic aspects of our very beingness. But she says you've got to have this rooted. You've got to have this solid in the body and grounded into a really authentic, unshakable sense of self-value, self-love, and self-esteem. So what is it that needs to be looked at? If you're drawn to Rose Card 2, what is it that you're being drawn to look at? And maybe it's the fact that you already have that worked within you, and your gift is in being able to offer that to others, that you are able to hold space and a mirror for others so that they can see how loved they are through your eyes. She is an absolute beauty. She's a rose. Again, another David Austin rose. And she is called the Queen of Sweden. Beautiful rose that comes almost like a globe to start with. And then she opens out with this invitation to enter her and to be held within this chalice. Very divine feminine energy. But it's this place of, it's almost falling into her and allowing her to be the information to drop into the truth of that loving place within you that knows that you are indeed love, that you are loved. And she holds this mirror of consciousness, this mirror of pure love to you that is self-love, self-value, self-esteem. And if you were drawn to Rose Card 3, she is Rose 4. And Rose 4 is just a beautiful, beautiful rose. She's from the original set, the original 11 roses that came forward when I went to the Alhambra in 2010. And she forms part of the healing grid on the body. She's a rose called the chocolate rose. And she had a really velvety petals. And actually, if you touch them, they actually smelt like chocolate. It was quite surreal, really. But the story of this rose is the fact that she came to me before I ever started working with the roses in this way, probably around 2007. And I'd gone to do a space clearing consultation up in Hertfordshire. And for some reason, I'd taken my big SLR camera, which I never did. I actually went back in to get my camera before I went. And part the way through the consultation, the client said, "Would you like to come and photograph my rose? You know, she's only bloomed in the last couple of days." And so it had been raining. And when I got out there, there were these water drops on the rose. And I was so caught with the beauty of the rose that I took quite a lot of photographs, and they were already in my stash when the roses called to me in 210 to do this work. So this rose, when she's sitting on the main healing grid, the body healing grid, sits on the liver. And in the work that I do with the roses, there is both a spleen rose and a liver rose, and they really support the solar plexus. So, oh, hi Hella, hi Nicola. So this rose speaks of the work of the liver. So the liver is the major detoxification organ in the body. So this rose is very much about flow. She's asked, if you were drawn to Rose card 3, she's really saying to you what needs to be released in order for optimum flow in your life. The liver also, historically in Chinese medicine, is the seat of anger. So is there any niggling, resentment, anger that needs to be addressed, that you're still being triggered by? This is really important that we clear this at this point. And the liver, for me, is the gatekeeper of grief, and the grief sits on the lungs, the lung-heart matrix. And it's certain, this is a rose that I certainly have worked with a lot myself in clearing old patterns from my childhood and trauma from my childhood that got reactivated of recent years. So she calls for this graceful detoxification, and that can be mental, physical, and emotional. So is there anything more in your space, in your outer temple, that needs to be cleared? I was talking to my son this morning, and he is still in the process of clearing with my daughter their father's house. And he was saying, you know, that actually when he'd contacted some of the charity shops, they have been overwhelmed and swamped by people having this massive clear out after Christmas, that they're actually even saying, you know, you've got to wait till you can bring stuff into us. So anyway, you know, this is this place of clearing. We need to let go. We need to travel lighter on all aspects of our journey. So if you were drawn to Rose card 3, what is she calling you to look at, to release? And is there anywhere where you are still being triggered, where there is any anger, any resentment, any blame that is still percolating through, that you now need to let go of? What I know of is that we have a Sun-Pluto conjunction on the 11th. And this is another powerful conjunction for us, and really is calling us to have done the work that we need to do, if possible, this week before that conjunction. Because it's like that sort of fixes the situation. So I invite you to look carefully to see if there's any inner work that needs to be done, any outer work that needs to be done. And you know, I encourage you to attend to that. You can't afford to let things stick and stay. What else do I have to share? Well, these 3 roses together really inspire us to our creative essence, to this place of really, really honouring ourselves, making self-love, self-value, self-esteem the absolute priority for our life, the template, the underpinning template that allows us to know when we need to be topped up, when we need to recharge, so that we don't give from an empty cup. And it also makes us deal with anywhere where we've had any toxicity in relationships that are really calling us now to release that. And along comes this rose, and she says, it's time. It is done. the release needs to complete. So these roses are potent, potent roses to take us through from this point into the full moon that comes along on the 22nd, and that again is another eclipse. And the eclipses really are opportunities for us to make massive shifts that allow us to travel much lighter and more soul aligned, aligned to soul purpose, and making that the absolute priority of where we are going. So I apologise, my energy isn't at its brightest, but it felt really important that I did this rose reading and kept the energy rolling with it. As many of you know, I've had some tests this last couple of weeks, and I have 10 days to wait until I get the results. And you know, I am in alignment to whatever this process is for me, but it's yet another place of the clearing of my own story. We're all work in progress, and we are all helping one another home. We're all guiding one another home. You all have as many gifts as I have, and it's when we share those gifts and when we can support and encourage one another in the journey that the path is more abundant and has a richness to it. So, to finish, we have the bowl of mastery, the violet gold aura bowl, and she has the 3 roses that we have been looking at in this particular part of the reading. So Rose-Mar 8, Rose Angel 10, and Rose 4. So just allow her energy to be received, and she's the carrier wave for these frequencies at yet another level. And of course, if there's any one of those roses that resonates for you, put a glass of water on the rose, if you have the Rose Oracle, and call in her energy to assist you in the transmutation of any resistance within the physical body. So, here she is. So there we are. Thank you very much for joining me. And as ever, with love and rosy blessings. Bye for now. Bye-bye.